Good evening. I made a video not too long ago that one of my friends was telling me that I should follow up on it. I've been going back and forth um, in doing so, but I didn't feel as though I had anything to go by. But I did a video not too long ago, and it's titled "Am I the Tiger?" And I had spoken about a couple of good friends of mine who had Um, well, this one in particular, this security guard that I knew when I was working at the Rio, the Rio Hotel, and by coming in contact again with him at Caesar's Palace one night that I was out treating myself to a buffet, and so he had pointed out to me that um, I was equivalent to the tiger in the movie The Life of Pi, of how the tiger just jumped off the boat and over his human friend, and he walked into the forest and he just walked right out of the East Indian boy's life. He had compared me to that tiger in just walking out of people's lives in a very unceremonious way and going on with my life. I bring all of this up is because I just got in about 20 minutes ago because I was invited over to Brother Keith's house for dinner. I thought with just him and his wife, but when I went over there, there was a black and Filipino young lady over there by the name of Sharon. And comes to find out that when I was working at the Rio, back in the kitchen, there was a restaurant where she was a waitress at during the time that I was cleaning their restaurant overnight because I used to work the graveyard shift from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. And so that particular restaurant would open up at 8 o'clock, but a whole lot of the employees used to come there around 6:30 to 7 o'clock to get everything ready and to start their day. So comes to find out that when Keith had told her about me and his encounter at Caesar's Palace, she had remembered me. And she had told Keith, she said, I always wanted to meet him because I always wanted to talk to him because I remember him back in the kitchen area of where he used to clean the restaurant. And she said, I always wanted to meet him. And so Keith had told her, well, me and my wife, we're going to be inviting him over um, this weekend, so maybe you can come by and I can introduce you to him. So moving forward, after I got there, um, I was I I had paused in my car, because it was I haven't been in the company of people in that type of setting in a while, and from my own experience, those things start out very pleasant, but sometimes the way that things end are not pleasant. But I gave myself a chance, and I went ahead and went. So once I got there, I was greeted by Keith and his wife and everything, and I was invited in, and After I said hello to them, Sharon was standing there with her hands like this, and Keith said, "You remember Sharon?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't recall." So he was telling me that she was a waitress at the restaurant that you used to clean at night. And so he introduced us, and she was telling me in comparison to what she was telling, what she told Keith about me. And she said, "I've always wanted to meet you and talk to you and everything." But what really caught my attention is not only what really caught my attention is when she said, "I've always wanted to talk to you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Oh, really?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, okay." Because she said, "I used to hear your conversation with the morning shift people a whole lot." She said, "I've always wanted to meet you and, just talk to you." And I'm like, "Okay." So, what I noticed when we were eating, um, Keith and his wife, all of us was in a conversation, you know, at the table. We were just talking about just simple things, and it started with Sharon asking me questions about where I was from and do I have any children and all of those things. But what I noticed, the more questions she asked me, the more silent that Keith and his wife had gotten. And when I noticed that, I was looking over at Keith, and he was eating. Him and his wife was eating in a sense to where they were giving us the impression that they were listening to us, but they really wasn't paying that much attention. So as odd as that may sound, that made me perceive, okay, so this is like a blind date. So it's like they're eating and everything like that. And they're subliminally telling themselves, okay, we've got them talking, so she's got David talking and everything. So 20 minutes into the meal, what I noticed is that Keith and his wife slowly got up from the table. Of course, they asked us what we were eating, and his wife collected our plates and everything. And so afterwards, me and Sharon, we were still sitting at the table, and we were talking, and she was constantly asking me questions about my education and stuff like that. So, she said, "Let's go into the living room," And so Keith, I said, "Yeah, let's all go into the living room." And so, what I noticed, Keith was sitting on the main couch in the living room. And what I noticed is that I was sitting on the sofa across from him, and Sharon almost aggressively sat right next to me on my right hand side. And so we were talking back and forth again, and I'll speed this up a little bit. Eventually, Keith and his wife slowly got up without saying goodnight. They went into their bedroom. And so what happened was Sharon had got up and she sat across from me of where Keith and his wife was sitting. And so we went ahead and, we got into some conversations on various subjects. And so she was she maneuvered the conversation to religious beliefs, and so we talked about various religions and all of those things, But she went back to asking me personal personal questions. She asked me, was I married, am I single, and all of this, and so I started getting kind of you know irritated, because I'm really not into the blind date thing. I'm really not. I'm not into the blind date. And I felt like I was manipulated and therefore trapped um, into something. Now, um, this woman was very beautiful. Sharon is a uh, very beautiful woman. And she's even physically built up the way that I like women. I like exotic women. She's what I like in a woman. She's petite, or she could be considered slim, or whatever the case may be. But I've had a lot of women like that. I've had a lot of women like that. In spite of my preference during my life, that particular preference, that particular physical preference, obviously haven't done me any justice in choosing the right type of woman to, at some point, settle down with. I'm not saying that this woman now, this preference of woman I'll never meet her, but I've learned through my trials and through my struggles with women of that particular preference to be very careful on getting myself involved with these women simply because I'm physically attracted to them. What's within. I've learned through my dealings with not only my son's mother, but my previous relationship that I had with Salam Yilma, which a whole lot of you are still asking me about. This is one of the reasons why I keep bringing her name up, and I'm considering talking about that again, but I will most likely not. I will most likely not, out of respect for Salam Yilma, just out of respect, and that's a past thing. But so as we were talking, she was asking me those type of questions. Was you single, and she was asking me, what do you like doing on your off days? It was pretty much a possible dating screening of me. And so as time went on, I think it was like a couple hours that went past, and I asked her, I pulled out my cell phone and I'm looking. And she said, someone's calling me? And I'm like, no, I'm just seeing what time it is. I just need to check to see what time it is. See? And that right there, I noticed her question, someone calling me. I didn't even have to answer her question, even if someone was calling me. But when I told her, I said, no, I'm just checking to see what time it is because I don't really like being out too late. I told her, I said, it's getting late. It's almost 10. And I'm one of those men. I don't run the streets, and so I don't like being in these streets. Okay, for a long time. The only time that I'm going to be out and about, in terms of me thinking that it's late, is if I'm driving all the way across town to this area called Centennial Hills when I'm visiting my big brother Jerry Johnson. That's the only time that I would be out, and I haven't been over there in a long while. So I'm not the type of man who's going to be out too late, and if I am, I'm within one of the casinos visiting some friends of mine who I previously worked with. That's the only time that you're going to catch me out. And so after I did that, she got up and she sat next to me again, but she sat next to me closer. And she was just saying, well, I would like to get to know you. And I've always wanted to meet you. I've always wanted to sit down and talk to you like this. And she said, I would love to, at some point in time, build a friendship with you. And so once she started saying those things, my mind just started like, get out of here, bro. Get out of here. And so she noticed that I started looking around. And in my mind, I'm like, Keith, are you gonna come out here and rescue me from this, bro? I mean, what's going on? But my mind had to revert back to like, hey, of course he's not gonna come out here and rescue you. I mean, this is one of the reasons why he invited you over here, because obviously he feels like you need a woman. You need a steady woman, and Keith has always seen the type of women that I'm physically attracted to, because I was dealing with a couple of Spanish women. Yes, a couple of Spanish women when I was working at the Rio. I was dealing with a couple of Spanish women, and I was dealing with this woman out here, black and Puerto Rican. Her name is Dana. I was dealing with three women. That's I am now. But and so I told her, I said, don't get me wrong, you're beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous woman. Told her, I said, and I am physically attracted to you, but I was telling her this is not a good time for me to even consider building anything going towards having a relationship with someone. I said, I don't mind being friends, but you've already pretty much told me where a friendship would be going in terms of your idea of what is called a friendship. And when I would consider a friendship at this point in time, my mind is not on it going towards a relationship, as unrealistic as that may sound. Because me, I'm only concerned about getting my work out, because I've had so many setbacks in terms of getting my books out. I'm into stocks and trade right now. I'm doing very good in that area, and I've accumulated a lot of money, a lot of money. So I have a lot to lose right now, and so I'm not trying to cause any turbulence in that area, because she is a younger woman. I believe Sharon is like about 33 or 34, 33, 34. But so I told her, I said, I didn't expect this. I said, I didn't come over for this. I didn't come here for this. She said, well, I hope you're not upset. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not upset. I'm not upset at you. I said, I'm just a little irritated, because I think it would be more respectable of Keith if he would have told me that you would be here, and I would have adjusted myself a little bit more, if that makes sense. So I told her, yeah, we can sit here and talk, for a little while longer. If that's what you want, I'll do that. I said, we exchanged information and everything like that. And even while I was giving her my number, she was calling my phone, to make certain that it's the right number and all of that. Already I'm feeling like, oh wow, now here's another one, deal with. You know, most brothers are, yeah, he's sitting up here talking about here's another one he's got to deal with, you know, but he know he like that. Of course I like it. You know, I'm a man just like you are. But what comes along with all of this, you know, you can't turn a blind eye to that, you know, because women want things, you know, women want your time and attention and currently I'm just not ready to deliver that. I'm upon my own journey right now. And so after that, you know, I told her, I said, well, I'm going to get myself home. I said, because I need to drive all the way across town, you know, I said, because I live all the way across town. You know, so she walked me to the door and she said, well, thanks, it's nice meeting you, you know, and she hugged me and she held me for a minute, rubbing on my back, and I'm like, oh, Lord. And so she said, call me, okay? She said, just call me and let me know you made it home safe. So that's the beginning of, as far as I'm concerned, her forming not only an interest but an attachment, you know. And so I left, and as I'm driving down the street, I'm reading myself, and I'm saying to myself, I am that tiger. I am that tiger, because I don't plan on looking back, you know. So I don't have an interest in her, regardless of how physically attracted to her that I was. But I like beautiful women, you know. I like exotic women, you know. I mean, she's what I like, you know. But you know, it's just that he is right though. I am that tiger, and since my experiences in Georgia, and when I allowed that other part of myself to die, I remember Keith had asked me at some point in time, or I think it was Brother Angel. It wasn't Brother Angel. It was trying to remember. It doesn't. Well, one of my friends had asked me, when you died of that other person, at some point in time, do you feel as though a vital part of yourself was let go that you should have held on to? And I told him I don't believe so, even though that could happen. I mean, that could happen through hurt, through anger, and some other areas of your being in terms of the healing process and what you perceive during the healing process. But what I do know right now, I don't want a serious relationship. You know, I don't want it. And if I do, she would have to be a very, very good friend and a very humbling presence. And the only person that I've ever felt like that around, as I said in my other video, the Exalt Ministries experience, it's only one woman in my life that I ever met like that, and that was Kimberly Cabral. And since her, I haven't met anyone who made me feel so at peace. And I'm like this. I believe the Creator had me experience those times with her, so that at some point in time, in spite of how that ended, at some point in time, learn of what being with somebody actually means. You know, you have to be at peace with the person that you're taking serious. You know, you have to have a very strong, humbling, and loving, and caring, and compassionate friendship with that person before you just jump into the next relationship simply because somebody is physically attracted to you. I feel as though I've done that enough in my life to where I should know better at this time. But to answer the question, am I that tiger? Yes, I am. I am. I have a tendency of moving forward and not looking back, because that's how I'm feeling right now. Now, if I happen to take a chance on looking back, it won't be from any efforts of my own. I'll put it like that. Because I don't intend calling her, but I know that she's going to be calling me. So however complicated this may sound, that's what happened tonight. And so I'm just answering the video. Am I that tiger? At this point, yes, I am that tiger. So with that being said, I'm going to get off this. Just wanted to respond to that video that I made and to respond to a couple of emails a couple of brothers of mine had sent me, and a couple of brothers at my job that had inquired based upon that video that I made. Am I that tiger? So, all right, everyone have a good night, and I'm going to jump in the shower, and I'm going to get me some rest. Everyone have a good night.